Hey guys, Sabri Subi here, and welcome to this module of quantum growth called Giving Your Market Crack. And you're probably thinking, what the hell is Sabri talking about now? Well, in this module, I'm really going to be diving right in and actually showing you step by step how to generate literally thousands of leads per month. And it all starts with giving your market crack. What exactly do I mean by that? I'll get to that in just a moment, but for now, let me just show you what we'll be covering in this module. So we're going to be covering the currency of the internet, giving your market crack, the economics of the larger market formula, and creating a lethally potent high-value content offer. So first things first, the currency of the internet, right? We already know that the internet is where, the majority of people are spending their time. Like 6+ hours per day is spent online. And really, you think about, okay, we know they're online, so what is the environment? Well, it is an environment that is a chaotic blizzard of noise and distraction. And really, the currency of the internet is attention, because everything starts with getting attention. If you don't have a proven way to grab your market's attention, then you're really dead, right? You need to be able to grab their attention and then articulate how you can help them solve their problems. And if you don't have those pieces in place, then you're finished. You're dead on arrival. There's nothing that's going to happen because you're not going to have a business. You're not going to have customers if you don't know how to get your prospects' attention to then turn them into clients. You see, before you speak to them, quote them, or enroll them as clients and customers, you've got to first get their attention. And this is seriously, a critically important element, because if you can't get their attention, then they don't know you exist. And then you'll never even get started. And the battlefield for attention right now is downright insane, okay? There is just so much going on. There is so much noise. And here are the two truths about modern marketing that you should really think deeply about, right? And that is that, one, people are constantly distracted and overwhelmed. There is just so many things vying for their attention that it's impossible almost to grab them by the jugular and drag them to what it is that you want to focus their attention on. This is just like, just some of the noise that you can see up on the screen of like banner ads online, and just all the chaos and all the marketing messages that people are exposed to on a daily basis. And the second thing is that people have built up a tremendous resistance to advertising and are highly, highly skeptical, right? And that's just because they're bombarded by so many things, and there's so many people constantly screaming offers at them. So to wake your prospects up and to focus them on your offers, there are two things that you must do. And the first thing is that you, one, must be dramatic in your advertising. Like a lot of the time when people see my marketing, or even, when they see direct response marketing, they're like, wow, like this is very intense and it's very dramatic. And that's because it has to be. Otherwise, you're never even going to get attention, because you are competing with just that sea of noise and offers and ads and advertising and all these distractions bombarding your prospect from every single angle. It's like if you were in a room that is like a live rock concert and there's people screaming on stage and you're in the corner whispering. Do you think you're going to get any attention? No. Well, that's what most people's advertising is doing. It's just whispering in a corner, right? And now the second thing is you mustn't make your advertising look like advertising. And we're going to be diving exactly just how to do that in great detail throughout this program. But if you don't do those two things, right, you won't cut through the mental fog, sales resistance, and the clutter of advertising messages that are begging for your prospects' attention every single day, every minute of every day, really. So the way that you do that is you focus on being different, unusual, and as dramatic as possible. And if you can do that and do effective well, then like your business is going to just grow geometrically. And in order to do that, in order to get attention, in order to be different, unusual, and dramatic, you really need to understand what is the environment that all of our prospects are in every day, the places that they are going for entertainment. What are the things that they're doing? And where are they going, not just for business, but where are they going for leisure? Because you need to intimately understand these people, and you need to understand the environment in which your offers and your ads are going to be battling for attention. So you must know what are the most popular shows on Netflix? What is this undercurrent? And really you must become a student of markets. And this is something that is profoundly important. Okay? You must be connected and tuned in to the heartbeat of society, even if you don't agree with it, even if you don't like some of the shows or the clickbait or all the stuff that's going on. You must be aware of it. You can't operate being oblivious to exactly what's happening in markets. And it's not about just your market. You must understand and become a student of multiple markets and multiple, that's the way that you really build, a repertoire and build an understanding of exactly how to become a brilliant marketer. So, some of the ways that you do that is by looking at what are the most popular TV series of 2019 or 2020 or whenever it is, right? You just need to look and go, okay, these are the most popular. This is what people are finding entertaining. Right? And you must know, because ultimately, we're trying to be dramatic and we're trying to stand out. And the only way that you stand out is by either speaking to people in the language that they're already used to and the environment that they operate in, or doing something dramatically different. And the only way that you can do that is by knowing the sea of chaos that you're going to be competing in. Looking at the most wished for products on Amazon, you can break it down by a category. Have a look, see what people are wishing that they could buy. Understand what is it that's motivating people. It's crazy to see that the most wished for electronic item for the year was the Fire TV Stick, 4K with Alexa voice remote, right? It just shows you where people are shifting to, what's happening. Right? Look at these. There's a huge trend with people being able to want to talk to their electronic products and their, electronics. They're the top 2 products on there. And it's just seeing, okay, this is what's changing. Convenience, right? Or looking at the most viewed websites in the world. And having a look at the country that's occupying those. Google, #1 most viewed website in the world. YouTube, Facebook, Baidu, Wikipedia, Tencent, Taobao, Tmall, Yahoo, Amazon, Twitter. Understanding, okay, this is what's going on. This is what's happening. These are the websites that people are visiting to the most and spending the most time on. Because if you can see something on here and go, okay, people are spending the most amount of time on Google, YouTube, and Facebook, where do you think that you should be going to get customers? Where they're all hanging out. Right? Absolute 101 in marketing. And then you can go down that list and look at emerging, Reddit. Reddit offers ads. Do you know what I mean? If you've tapped out the other ad channels, can you look to those? Amazon, all these different things. And there's only by looking at these and really having your finger on the pulse of what's going on in a market, as people, as a human race, can you start to really understand these things. Or you look at this, Reddit. Look at the average, even though it's not the most popular, it's the 5th most popular in the US. And look at this, 10 minutes on average, higher than any other website in the top 10. Or the most viewed videos, over the last 10 years or 5 years or 7 years. Look at Gangnam Style, how long it took to hit 3 billion views. Look at Despacito. Right? These are just interesting things for you to look at and see, okay, this is what's going on. This is the rate and the speed in which technology is breaking down barriers and allowing things to go viral very, very quickly. And these are the things that people are enjoying. And it's not that you're going to be selling anything to do with Gangnam Style or Despacito. It's about being a student of markets and a student of people. Looking at the most searched and most asked questions in your market, as we covered before. Then also seeing like what is the most trending content for that year, right? What was trending the most globally, and having a look at like the thing that was dominating everything was the World Cup, and then Avicii, and then Mac Miller and Stan Lee, and just looking at these things and the royal family, having a look at what's going on from searches to news to people, you know, to athletes and actors, all of that stuff. It's very important, and it cannot be like, you know, undervalued, is really understanding this stuff and really knowing what's going on. Because it's really the fabric that makes up society, right? Now, I don't know, you know, how many of you read trending content on Reddit or BuzzFeed or Facebook. I don't know how many of you go to every film that makes $100 million and see, you know, every one of them, or check out the most popular shows on Netflix. But you cannot lose touch with the people of this country, of the people of the country that you operate in, right? Or of the entire human race, no matter how successful or, you know, how potent you think you are in terms of your marketing skill. If you don't spend at least 2 hours a week finding out where your market is today, you are already dead. You will have, you know, a career or a business of 3 blazing years and you'll be finished. But in order to be somebody that has longevity in the game, you need to know the fabric of society, whether you like it or not. You must become a student of people and of markets. So now what I've got is a little video for you that Google put together that essentially aggregates all of the data from all of their different assets that they've got online and just shows you like a year in review of the things that were the most riveting, that moved nations, that went the most viral. So let me just roll this video for you now.
It takes a few seconds, so I'll switch this one on. And we'll just see if Mummy talks.
Alex? Alex? Hello, you.
This is a miracle rescue, that all 13 members of the soccer team are out of the cave.
He turns into a superhero set on feeding as many homeless people as possible.
This election, we've seen historic voter turnout.
An all-Asian cast, there's nothing more empowering.
He has to go right up and do it. Yes!
It'll be alright.
Yeah.
Let the music play!
New dance in the outfield. Will you marry me?
You're in Laurel too? I was saying the word Yanni.
And however difficult life may seem, while there's life, there is hope.
Kids have the dream, they just want to know that someone cares.
We got love for you. It's only right. We got to stay together. I'm fooling.
The Washington Capitals are champions!
Welcome to the show, Chloe Kim.
I love you so much. Los amo. Gracias. They just proposed to each other.
Life is good. The world is filled with people doing the best they can, you know, who love their kids and would like to live their lives with a little dignity and hope, just like everybody else.
So the reason that I wanted to show you that is because I see marketers and business owners all the time obsess over the things that change constantly, like the latest Facebook ads targeting strategy, or the latest chatbot integration, or automation software, or this special kind of funnel, but they don't obsess over the things that don't change. Look, people don't change. Technology changes, right? So you really want to become a student of people and of human behavior and find out the things that are emotionally riveting, the things that persuade people, the things that aren't going to change with just like the wind direction, like the latest advertising channel. You really, really need to become a student of people and of markets. And this is something that if you want to transition to where you are right now, to just a ruthlessly effective business builder, this is something that you must commit to. So now let's move on to giving your market crack. And this is really about giving them exactly what it is that their brain is wired to want. And that just shoots a dopamine release in their brain and floods their brain with chemicals. And not to go against the raging river, but just give them what they want, right? And the way that you do that is by really thinking about looking at your Halo strategy worksheet and finding out exactly what it is that your market does want. You know that because you've gone through that and you can see all the questions that they want the most. And then we want to basically wrap that up in our high value content offer. Now, I'm going to show you how to create a potent high value content offer that sucks in leads like a vacuum cleaner on steroids with the insights that you've already gotten from your Halo strategy worksheet. And so then your next move is to use that information and basically create a piece of the most irresistible bait for your dream buyer, right? And the types of contents, as I said, that we do that with is free reports, video trainings, webinars, cheat sheets, and swipe files. And, you know, for you in the beginning, this is definitely the place that you want to start. In my opinion, it's still the most effective way is by creating just a free report, just a down and dirty PDF. It's easy to do. It doesn't need to be like your magnum opus, your life's work. It can be just a simple 5 to 10 page free report. And the reason that I believe that they're so effective is just because it's very, very clear of exactly what your prospect is getting in exchange for giving you their name and email address. And it solves that immediate need. And it also gives them the instant gratification that they're looking for. Now, on top of all of that, you know, the big benefit of it is that if you're, you know, advertising a high value content offer being a free report on something like Google or Facebook, it's the way that you're going to be able to aggressively grow your list of prospects, i.e. people that are interested in what it is that you are selling for the cheapest price and the most aggressive way possible. So now these are just some, you know, examples of high value content offers, right? So you can see on here, you know, they've all kind of got the use of numbers on here. It's all very straightforward. You know what you're going to kind of be getting as a result of this. Now, as I said, you've probably heard of these before and people calling them all types of things of like lead magnets or white papers. But as I mentioned earlier on, that these have been around for hundreds of years and like a lot of people know about them, but they just really don't know how to make them work. Like they've tried them, they've like, oh, I tried to do a free report and, you know, my business wasn't just flooded with clients and money. And that's because there's lots of people out there that are trying to deploy them and aren't doing them the correct way. But really, what I'm going to be showing you is how to grab eyeballs online and then convert them. And right now, I'm going to walk you through step by step of exactly how to do this with templates and all. And as I discussed in an earlier module, the larger market formula, this strategy is incredibly powerful because it allows you to speak to just a much larger segment of the market and really bring in an infinitely amount more of leads coming into your business. And not only that, but you're also leading with value to your marketplace and you're not just making a straight up offer to them right out the gate and asking for the marriage proposal before you've taken them out for a drink or you've gone and had dinner together or whatever it might be. Then like your prospects will have more information once they download, you know, your free report. And then the logical progression for that is to move them up the pyramid from just the research phase into the buying phase. And this allows you to generate hundreds of leads, if not thousands of leads, while positioning yourself as just that trusted authority in your marketplace because you're the only one providing that information. But before we dive into the exact specifics of, you know, how to create them, let me quickly just show you how many more leads that this allows you to generate, for the same amount of ad spend. So take a look at this slide, right? You got 100 visitors that come through. Now, from these 100 visitors, we're going to be pushing these prospects to a page that has an offer on there that is, get a free quote, right? And the average landing page like this converts at 4%, as we covered, right? Now, this would basically give you, 4 leads. And from those 4 leads that you get, you see on average that you're assuming a 25% close rate of these leads, right? Then you'll end up with 1 sale if you're able to do this, okay? So that's not bad, right? That's not a hugely bad outcome depending on how much you paid to get those 100 visitors. Now we're going to take another scenario where we also have 100 people, right? And from these 100 people, we send them through to a landing page, but instead of just trying to sell them some stuff straight out the gate and going with a very threatening offer like speaking to a sales team, we're going to offer them a free report. And because of that, we're going to get a conversion rate of upwards of 30%. Like they can convert a lot higher than that, but we'll just say 30%, right? And basically that's because we're offering value. Straight up, we're not trying to sell them. We're not having this threatening thing come to them. We're just offering them that crack that they want, that immediate press a button solution to the problem or the questions that they're experiencing right now, right? So from that same 100 visitors, we've got a 30% conversion rate, meaning that we will get from that 30 leads, and from those 30 leads, we're going to have a 10% close rate. Now, because these leads are going to be, at various stages of awareness. So we need to be realistic and assume that the conversion rate is going to drop substantially, right? It might even be less than 10%. It might be higher. It all depends on what your market is. But, even if this happens and it's a 10% drop and it goes down to a 10% conversion rate for them, instead of getting 1 sale, we're going to get 3 sales. And our sales have increased by 300% just from switching this lead gen model and instead of going with a get a quote and speak with our team, to going with a free report and something of value, right? And this is the power of a potent high value content offer. Not only does it give value to your prospects and create goodwill and establish you as that real authority in your space, but it's also just way more efficient and way more profitable, right? And this is just like, a hypothetical example. So let's have a look at some real examples, right? So this is for a client. We spent $7,728. We generated 668 leads at $11.57 a pop. Do you know what I mean? Like that's people that are leads, hot leads for that market, right? And that's an insane result. Then we got another one. We spent $6,226 in this instance. We generated 1,934 leads at a tiny $3.22 per lead. Like if you could go out there and generate thousands of leads for a couple of dollars a pop, do you think that you're going to have any problem going and actually getting customers, and having more customers than you know what to do with? I can tell you right now that if you follow all the steps that I'm talking about in this program and you actually do the work, that this is the possibility that you're looking at, is having thousands and thousands of leads come into your business, and only costing you a couple of dollars a pop. Well, they were from Facebook ads, those examples. Let's have a look at one from Google. So in this instance on Google, we spent $8,310 and we generated 2,330 leads, costing us a tiny $3.53 a lead. Like, it doesn't really matter what the channel is. Like this strategy, it just works, right? Here's another example from Facebook. We spent $8,834. We generated 3,589 leads at just $2.46 per lead. And you might be thinking, well, Yeah, but that's just a free report, Sabri. Like, what do you do with those leads? Well, I'm going to show you what you do with those leads. But basically, the result of getting like thousands and thousands of leads at just a couple of dollars a pop is this. This is what ends up happening when you have thousands and thousands of people entering into the top of your funnel, that, you know, you're going to get bookings on your calendar of people waiting and eager to speak to you about you helping them solve this problem that they've got, right? And this is just for, you know, for one person. And then if you look at, here's another example of when you actually have a sales team and filling up multiple calendars of just people. And then it's not just like, you know, people that are looking for information either. Like, look at this quote from Adam, like, he closed 2 deals, one that's valued at 22K, another one that's valued at 18K, using like the script that we're going to be covering in for converting these appointments into paying clients, right? So, but that's not all. There's also another reason why they're so powerful. Now, what you're starting to see on all these different advertising channels is that it's becoming incredibly difficult to be able to write compelling copy, because all these compliance reasons. There's all these things that you can say and you can't say on Facebook and Google right now, and they're just eradicating advertising accounts based on people breaking their policies. And you might be thinking, well, I'm not selling anything sinister, Sabri, like this is not going to really affect me. This affects everybody, because even like they don't want you using the word like you or your. Like, it's ridiculous the level of scrutiny that they're placing on advertisers right now. And the reason that it's so effective is because you can say very little and compel somebody to download a free report and give you their name and their email address in exchange for that. There's not a huge amount of hoo-ha that you need to do in order to get somebody to be willing to do that, right? It's a free piece of content. Then once you've got that email and that name, you know that that person has raised their hands in a sea of people as being someone that's interested in what it is that you're doing. Then there's no, like, you can say whatever you want over email and communicate with those people, you know, over email and other forms of following up that we'll be going through, where you can make claims, you can use really good, motivating and persuasive copy, and you're not at the mercy of those advertising channels. And this is something that no one talks about, but you know, it's a high level strategy that one of the reasons that it is so incredibly effective is because it allows you to have that communication with them and not have your hands tied behind your back of what you can say and what you can't say. So let me ask you, right, if you are able to generate thousands of leads every single month for just a couple of dollars each, what would that mean for your business? Looking at how much your average client is worth to your business and how many of these leads that you would actually have to convert into paying clients in order for that whole exercise to be highly profitable for you, right? So basically, enough of that. I just wanted to leave that thought with you and just think about like what I've just walked you through. Like, don't just think, oh, yeah, this is kind of cool. Like, think about the profound impact that this can have on your business if you execute this, all right? But enough of that. Let's dive into the actual nuts and bolts and the actual brass tacks of how we do this. So this is exactly how to create a lethally potent, high value content offer that is really positioned to really just flood your prospect's brain full of dopamine and really get them wired up and create so much intrigue that they have to just take action. And the number one rule is really to grab them by the throat with an attention grabbing headline. And what I mean by that is really just turn up the volume of your copy. Like, I see so many times that like when people are trying to use like a free report to get leads, like they just give it this like lackluster, shitty vanilla title and they expect people just to trip over themselves to want to download it. And it's ridiculous, right? You need to turn the volume up. You need to give them that crack. Your headline must have teeth. It must bite. And a lot of people people that read my copy, they might feel like, wow, this is like a shot of Red Bull or like an adrenaline or crack cocaine. And that's because like the internet is a really noisy place and people have like ADD. And my dream prospects are like sleepwalking through a fog of gurus screaming offers at them. And my copy, it needs to just shoot like an electric bolt through their body and demand their attention. You know, it really must wake them up. And in order to do that, I need to turn that volume up. I need to grab their attention. I'm competing with all that crazy chaos, you know, that's like Kim Kardashian and all this stuff that's gone viral and Trump and China and all this crazy stuff that's going on. I can't go in there and whisper in the back of that rock concert and expect to get any attention. I must demand attention, right? Now, to illustrate the importance and the power of this, let me share a story with you, right? So, in 1982, Nora Hayden released a book called Astrological Love. And, like, looking at the title of this book, what you can see here, like, what is it that you think this book is about? Does it grab you? Does it demand your attention? Is it really clear? And is it specific as to, like, what you would learn if you bought this book? If you were in a busy airport and rushing through, like, what is it that if you took a glance at this book, what is it about? Well, when they print a book, right? And I know this because I've just gone through this process. The first print run is typically around 5,000 books. And most books don't sell out of their first print run. It's like something crazy, like 80 or 90% of books never sell out of their first print run. And this book also didn't sell out of its initial print run of the 5,000 books. In fact, it only sold something like 2,000 copies. So Hayden sold the rest of the book, like the other 3,000 books, you know, that she had to like discount bookstores and flea markets who sell books for like 99 cents. And it was there that a New York publisher stumbled across the book and bought it. And then they read it and they thought, like, this is like a really great book on how to seduce women. And then they called Nora Hayden and they bought the rights to the book and they republished it. And they didn't change a word inside the book, right? Exactly the same book. The product was exactly the same, but he did change the title of the book. And he changed it to How to Satisfy a Woman Every Time and Have Her Beg for More. Which book would you rather read if you were in the market for this kind of thing, right? Which book clearly articulates exactly what you're going to get? Look at the subheadline, the first and only book that tells you exactly how. Well, the result was 2.5 million book sales in 18 months. It became a massive cultural phenomenon, a New York Times bestseller, #1 bestseller, same book, same content, just a different title. And it wasn't the picture on the cover that made the difference because, like, if you look at it, there are actually no pictures. It was the title and more specifically, the offer in the title that changed. And that was an offer that someone actually wanted. So the takeaway for you is just simple and clear. Once you're clear on what this is, you really need to labor over figuring out the best possible title for your free report. Like, that's the thing that matters the most, right? So you already know that, like, what your market wants, right? By doing the Halo strategy. Now you must really think about how do you package that up, right? How do you really title this thing to make it just absolutely irresistible for your target market? Because the truth is, the title of your free report is the #1 factor in the pulling power of your high value content offer and will largely be responsible for the amount of people that are actually going to be entering into the top of your funnel and the amount of sales that you're going to make, because, you know, you can only sell people when you've got leads. So you really, really need to do an incredible job on the lead generation component of it, okay? Now, here's a quote from David Ogilvy. On average, 5 times as many people read the headline as read the body copy. When you've written your headline, you've spent 80 cents out of your dollar. That's how important this thing is. Think about how much money you are spending or you are going to be spending on marketing. 80% of that goes straight to the headline. So you really do need to labor over it. You need to turn up the volume and make it something that just drives your prospects wild, right? And, you know, it really must grab attention. Like the whole purpose of a headline is in grabbing attention, filtering out your target audience, generating burning intrigue, and promising benefits, right? Use words that will shock your prospect, or some kind of like thing that creates an emotion where it's like, what the hell? Like, that's the reaction that you're going for in the headline, that your prospects should be kind of thinking like, what is going on here? Like, it just grabs them and there's so much intrigue around it. Now, the headline's job is not to sell, right? That's not the game here. Like, the whole goal of the headline is to get somebody to read the next part of the copy, right? So that's the thing that you really need to understand. Now, when it comes to headlines, which publication do you think has the highest paid copywriters on the planet? Right? Who are just like the killer copywriters? Now, you might be thinking that it's going to be some Madison Avenue huge advertising agency, or maybe it's Coca-Cola or Nike, right? And if you thought those things, then you'd be wrong. Because the answer is gossip magazines and news publications like Women's Weekly and AARP and the National Enquirer. For those who are wondering like what the National Enquirer is or what are these magazines, it's basically one of those trashy gossip magazines in the US that you see near the checkout in supermarkets and convenience stores. But there's a good reason why they pay these copywriters so much. And it's because the writers of like the National Enquirer are among the best anywhere on earth. And I'm not being sarcastic, they really are. If you doubt that, then, you know, here's something for you to consider. Approximately 7 million people read the National Enquirer every single week, right? Their articles are superbly written, they are clear, they are concise, they are crisp, and all in all, the most easily understood articles from any other publication. And what do you think that the Enquirer writers excel the most at? Above everything else, you guessed it, headlines. Their headlines are so powerful and have so much grabbing power that every week people who've sworn that they'll never, ever buy such a trashy publication again are almost forced to purchase it, despite of themselves and despite of what they said to themselves, right? So let's take a look at the attention grabbing and the raw pulling power of these headlines now. Donald Trump, my first 100 days. Right? Just look at these things. Just look at the wording, right? Exposed, revealed, confession, horror, secret, torture. These are all emotional trigger words that strike up a very visceral action, right? And very visceral emotions around them. It's like they almost jolt you, right? Like Michael Douglas, gay shocker, twisted secret, he's hiding something from Catherine. Like, it's just, it really grabs your attention. And, you know, if you think about like just how busy and how chaotic it is, this sea of attention, you need to use things like this that are going to just shock people and they're going to grab them. Otherwise, you're never ever going to have a chance of getting their attention. Right? Now, let's take a moment and just look at each one of these covers and see if you can see other commonalities on here other than just like these shocking trigger words, right? I'll just bring them all up. So just take a moment, look through them. Can you see anything? Read them. Read the covers. Now, there should be something that jumps out at you, like other than, of course, being fixated on like better sex and getting chiseled six-packs abs, there should be something else that just jumps right out at you. Something that adds, right, to the grabbing power of the headline. Let's take a look at the first one. Okay, money issues. Get hired after 50. Shark Tank lessons to make you rich. Okay, Michael Douglas. One love, second chance, and a life well lived. Then if you look in here, oh my aching back, 5 causes of pain that will surprise you. Let's look at the next cover. 12 naughty sex questions you've been dying to ask. 587 fall outfits and ideas. 29 best beauty buys this minute. 10 things more important than those last 5 pounds. Or the next cover from Women's Health. 17-day slim down. The hunger fix sheds kilos fast and forever. 325 plus nutrition, sex, health, fitness, beauty, style, and money tips. Next cover. His #1 sex fantasy. 6 instant confidence boosters. Or the next one. Like, the list just goes on, really, right? But you can see, like, thrill your hotspots, and then you just go through 4 sexy ways to wear a sweater, right? Or the next one, brand new body in 28 days, 312 ways to crush your year, 10x your life, #1 frying secret, 100 great style ideas if you move to Better Homes and Gardens. It's not just gossip magazines, Men's Health, 48 ways to boost testosterone, right? And the thing that you notice there, it should be numbers, right? The use of numbers. And this brings us to high value content offer rule number 2, which is always use numbers, right? Because numbers, they give your prospects a tangible object or a logical idea to wrap their head around, right? They also lay out a structure that the reader instantly knows will be easy to follow. It's like, oh yeah, they're just the 5 points. Like, that's really, like, it's got burning intrigue. Like, I want to know what those 5 things are, right? And it's also their specificity. It adds believability to any claim or promise that your business makes if it's specific. So would you rather read, right, some helpful information about hiring a financial planner, or the 5 things that you absolutely must know before hiring a financial planner? Like, the answer should be obvious, right? And let's just rattle off some more. 5 things that you absolutely must know before hiring a financial planner. 3 insider secrets to pay off your mortgage in 5 years. 22 money-murdering mistakes that no web designer would dare tell you. It doesn't matter what the industry that you're in. This cut and paste shocking report reveals the 5 things that you must know about X. It just works. Like, I've used it in hundreds and hundreds of industries, and it's never not worked. And remember though, right, that your prospects are more distracted now than any other time ever in history, right? People are browsing through the web, are basically like sleepwalkers, and you must jolt them and awake them like an electric shock. And because these people, they're all just one click away from porn videos or cat videos or all the crazy distractions. Like, they've got smartphones in their pocket that they can just reach to at any time. And in the first few seconds, you really must grab them by the throat and drag them into your copy or into your offer. Right? And the way that we do that is, it brings us to rule number 3, which is making it burn with intrigue, right? It's not enough to just get their attention and then sell them the benefits of your offer. You also need to pique your reader's interest and have them burning with curiosity. Like, they've just got to know. They can't continue to browse around online without knowing what those 5 or 10 things are. And the best way to do that is to really dial up the intrigue in your copy and really create like irresistible intrigue. And a great way to do that is by using words like must, alarming, shocking, won't tell you, exposed, revealed, confession, horror, secret, right? And you can download a full list of power words to help you get started in the resource section of this module. I've gone and done all the heavy lifting for you. I've got it in there. It's cut and paste. And you really just want to focus on just dialing that thing up and have the volume full blast on that thing. Or at least trying to add like a twist or a qualifier to the hook of your free report, like how to start and scale an online business, even if you don't know what to sell. right? By adding that even if you don't know what to sell, it not only qualifies people who don't know what it is that they want to sell, but it also increases the intrigue for your prospects to find out, like, how's that even possible? Right? Like, how am I going to start and scale an online business if I don't know what it is that I want to sell? And that intrigue is really what pushes people over the edge. Because in the words of the late great Claude Hopkins, curiosity is one of the strongest human incentives. And it really just drives people wild. I've split tested a whole bunch of stuff, and really having, a title and a hook and a headline that has curiosity, it just pulls its head off when it comes to getting leads. Like, it just sucks in so many leads, and it's definitely a really, really dominant emotion that will move the needle in terms of how magnetic your free report is pulling in your dream buyers. So let's just look at some side-by-side examples of boring ones versus irresistible titles. 7 things to know about a financial planner. We obviously went over that one. An irresistible one in that market. So you might be urged just having like 7 things to know about a financial planner. You might think, well, that is irresistible. Well, it's not. Look at an irresistible one. 7 alarming things that you must know before hiring a financial planner. Number 3 will blow your mind. What has that done? It's dialed up the intrigue dramatically. Why is it going to blow my mind? What is it? I really want to know now, right? Or creating a free report that's like how to meet men. That's not irresistible. That's boring. An irresistible one. Make him beg to be your boyfriend in 6 simple steps. Notice the use of numbers. You notice the word beg, right? There's just things that you can tell. Okay, this is really dialing it up for me. 5 facts about web design. Would you rather read that? Or would you rather 22 money murdering mistakes that no web designer would dare tell you? Another one, 8 things to know about getting a divorce. Is that something that you'd be interested in? Or would you be interested in top divorce lawyers' secret checklist, the 22 tip-offs your husband may be cheating on you? Again, it's just like, what are those 22 tip-offs? And it's a top divorce lawyer's secret checklist. I want to know exactly what it is and what's in that thing. Right? This brings us to rule number 4. Show them what is in it for them, right? Your high value content offer should ultimately be about them and their desired outcomes. Your prospects want an immediate benefit. They have questions that they want answered. And the key is to write about them and not you. Everybody wants the silver bullet, the simple system, the cut and paste template, the cheat sheet or secret solution. Right? So sell them what they want and then give them what it is that they need, right? Show them how they'll learn simple tips that will help them solve their problem or help them answer that question, and then show them what their desired outcome looks like, and then educate them on how to actually get there. And that's the payoff for the reader, right? That's the payoff that they get in exchange for giving you their name and their email address. So you must add as many specific and vivid details as possible. Now, at this stage, you might be wondering, like, well, what do I actually put inside my free report? And the answer is that it doesn't need to be your life's work. It's not like some huge scripture, this magnum opus that your grandchildren are going to look at. It's just like, you want to get started with just a basic 5-page report. And you can repurpose a blog post if you want to. You can take your FAQs and make them into something. But whatever it is, it can't just be like some promotional piece of crap that's just talking about your company. It needs to talk about them. It needs to have value, because really the way that I look at it is when somebody gives you their name and email address, that is the very first transaction that takes place with your business. Whether or not they've used real money in a currency, their name and an email address is that currency. And you really want to over-deliver on your promises that you made. And that doesn't mean that it needs to be 100 pages. That means that it just needs to be of genuine value and genuinely help your prospect where they are. It can't just be like, hey, I tricked you, I got your name and email address, here's our catalog of our services or of our products. That's not how it works. Now, the 4 rules for creating a high value content offer, like with a headline that really just pulls in, is this headline formula. It must be an urgent problem, it must be unique, and it must be useful, and it also must be ultra specific, right? So you just got to have all 4 of those present in your headline in order to get it to work. Right? So you really do want to look at having all 4. But look, if you have 2 missing, like the headline's just not going to hold attention. It's just not going to grab your prospect as much. So make sure that you have all 4 of those elements. And let me break those down for you. So first up is urgent. This is easy. Simply just convey that there is a limited time to get your high value content offer. Like download your free report before this page comes down or before we start charging money for it. Unique. This, in my opinion, is the most important element, because it must be burning with intrigue by being something that is strange and something that is unique, that they have never ever seen or heard of before, right? Because that's how you're going to stand out and get cut through. Useful, there has to be some implied benefit for the reader to continue reading. It can't just be like blind curiosity where you're not promising any benefit or any end result. And then it must be ultra specific. So it's important that it plants depth into the claim. It increases your believability and at least enough that the reader may investigate further by giving you their name and email address, right? So go as specific as legally possible, but don't lie, right? How to get 7 clients in the next 7 days. How to lose 9 kilos in the next 6 weeks, or whatever it might be. Like it can't just be like how to get in better shape. It needs to be specific, because it's really that ultra specificity that really does like add some depth to the claims that you're making. Now, let's just think about, like, you might still be thinking like, Sabri, I just can't get my head around like you wanting me to title this thing that is going to be competing with gossip magazines or clickbait online or all these banner ads. Well, this is the battlefield of attention, right? This is what the average person's browser looks like, right? It's just downright insane. Like 47% of people have between 6 and 25 tabs open at a time. And the other 50% of people have 1 to 5. Like that, just straight out the gate, like look at that chaos. That is what you're competing with. And a lot of those things are going to be more entertaining than what it is that you're promising. So if you don't have something that is really compelling from the get-go, you're just dead on arrival. So like you need to get over this, right? You need to be open to the fact that like you are in a war for attention and you need to make sure that you win that war. This is just somebody's like browser tab, right? Then you've got like their computer and all of the different widgets that are open in their dock. Then you've got their smartphone, right? Which also got this little red notification hell that is also vying for their attention. So if you combined all 3 of those, like there is no overplaying that it is a blizzard of chaos, absolute chaos that you're competing with. It's like having your prospect blindfolded in the back of a car full of people that are all having conversations and the music is turned up full blast and your prospect is blindfolded. That is what you are competing with. That is what this is. That is this battlefield for attention. So you really need to believe what I'm telling you and work on that title of your high value content offer. It's even more important than the content that you put into that. But don't worry, I'm not leaving you high and dry and just saying like, go and figure that out yourself. No, I'm here to rescue once again. So the way that you're going to do that is you're going to by combining your Halo strategy worksheet where you went out and did all the research and got all of those stats. Plus I've also included a timeless cut and paste high value content offer headline formulas that you can get again in the resources section, and there's a whole bunch of examples. You can go in there, cut and paste for your exact market, and away you go. So if you still don't believe me, let me just show you another example to articulate that. So here is another one. So want to profit from a second property on your land? Reveal the exact reveal the exact method Sydney siders are using to get 2 homes on one block and increase their land value. Complete New South Wales guide to one property to rent. 6 simple steps, 6 simple tips to affordably build 2 homes on one block and maximize the value of your land, right? If you are in the market of building 2 homes on the one block and really maximizing the amount of revenue that your property generates, right? Would you rather download this or would you rather fill in this, right? The answer should be simple. This is far more irresistible. For a strictly limited time, you can download a free copy of our exclusive report, Complete New South Wales Guide to One Property to Rent, 6 simple steps to affordably build 2 homes on one block and maximize the value of your land. Download your free report, right? It's just, for somebody that's in that market, that's something that is irresistible, that they really, really want, right? And here's another example. The simple step-by-step process which completely wipes out your home loan in 5 years or less. Like if you have a home loan, you want to know exactly what those steps are. Discover how you can slash years or even decades off your mortgage and potentially save yourself hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? That is irresistible. Or another one, looking to sell your home for the best price? 13 money traps that Aussies looking to sell their home fall prey to every year. How to avoid them and get the right price for your home, right? And one of the keys that make these things even more effective is like, look how polished this thing looks, right? Look how legit that free report looks like. It's like a book, like a real tangible thing that I'm getting. And again, don't worry, you're going to get all of this included in this program. The pages, the templates, the sales copy templates, the high value content mock-ups of the actual book, the PSDs, everything, right? I'm not holding anything back. I want you to be as successful as possible, and I'm giving you everything plug and play, cut and paste, and away you go to deploy in your business. Now, this is the full page that you can see here, right? So you get all the bullet copy. So it's not just the free report at the top, then there's testimonials, and then it brings it back down where it offers the book again. And as I said, we're giving you this exact template so you can plug and play and deploy that right in your business. Now, why is this so effective? So like everything, I really like to break things down and look at the constituent parts. You know, when I find something that works, I don't just run with it. I like to know why, and I like to know the building blocks that make it up, so then I can go and I can deploy this in other areas using other things and get compounding results, right? And that's really how you grow exponentially and you experience quantum growth, right? So let's have a look at why. Like, why is this so effective, like this free report thing? And that brings us to this behavioral model, okay? Which is behavior equals motivation, ability, and trigger. So the first component, right? So we have behavior, and this is really the motivation. So we want to look at, okay, well, what is it that affects that? Like, what is it that's going to affect somebody being motivated to download our free report? And the first one is burning intrigue. And then the second one is the big promise. And then the third one is the specificity of it, right? And they're the 3 things that is going to basically motivate somebody to want to give you their name and email address in exchange for your high value content offer. And then the second part of the model in terms of why it is so brutally effective is this the time commitment component of it. Like, it's a free report, right? There is very limited time commitment that is required for that end user in order to get it what it is that they want. The second thing is money. It's free, right? There is no risk for them to get this. The skepticism can be lowered. And then the third one is thought. Like, there's just not a lot of thought that has to go into it. It's like, do I want it or do I not want it? It looks irresistible. It's highly motivating. Let me go out and get this thing, right? That brings us to the third point, which is trigger. And it's because it really floods the brain with a release of dopamine where they get that instant gratification and the ease of use of it. And it just hits on all of these three different behavioral triggers that really just the way that people are wired, right? And that's the reason why it works so brutally effective. And that's the reason that I believe that, you know, when you get started, free reports are just the easiest, most effective way to do it because it delivers on all of these things in the behavioral model. And that's the reason why it just creates a surge of activity and activity in terms of leads and then, you know, phone calls and sales. So that's the really like breaking it down into this model so you can understand, you know, how this thing works, right? So that's exactly how to create a lethally potent, high-value content offer, and why really they're so important and really the profound effect that they can have on your business. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be going over later in this program of exactly where this actual part fits into your sales funnel. Like, how do you use it? How do you get somebody that's taken this free report and then how do you actually convert them and enroll them into a high paying client? And how do you do that every single week and every single day and get those people, those prospects, you know, to pay top dollar and really look to you as the number one authority that's going to help them solve that problem. We'll get into exactly how we do that later on in this program in terms of how it fits into the funnel. But for now, really what you want to do is look at the resources, download them, and your action items for this module is to study the Halo Strategy worksheet. You see that thing just keeps on coming up over and over and over again. And that's why I'm obsessed on you spending a huge amount of time on getting those things right, because once you get that right, all of this stuff almost writes itself. Okay, then you really want to identify by looking at that worksheet of what is that number one most burning problem that your market is experiencing. And then you want to write 10 eyeball grabbing high value content offer titles for your free report, right? Not just one or two, write 10 and then eliminate the best 3 and then ask, you know, some friends and some co-workers about which ones are the most irresistible and then juice them up even more. Then you pick the winner and then you produce your high value content offer, right? And then you've got this asset in your business that we're going to fit into the rest of our funnel that's going to go out there, grab eyeballs, suck in leads, and really create all these opportunities for your business. So go ahead, get to work, get busy on that stuff, and I will see you in the next video.